Goodness gracious, great ball of fire.
What's up, guys? This is Ashley with Ashley Says So. I am coming back to you today with another old Hollywood scandals video. This video is going to be about Mr. Jerry Lee Lewis, the one, the only, the Mr. Goodness Gracious, Great Balls of Fire. That guy. That's who we're going to do the video on today. And y'all, listen, his life, it seems like a thug or something out in these streets. As much scandal as he has and things that he had done in his life, let me tell you all about it. Old Hollywood scandals, let's go. Jerry Lee Lewis was born September the 29th, 1935 to Mr. Elmo and Miss Amy Lewis in eastern Louisiana. In his youth, Jerry started playing piano with two of his cousins. There was Mickey Gilley, who turned into a country music star, and Jimmy Swaggart, who was later a very popular televangelist. So Jerry and his cousins are playing this piano, and his parents start to notice that he's really, really good. So they ended up mortgaging their house so they can buy him a brand new piano. Eventually, his mother enrolled him into the Southwest Bible Institute, which was located in Waxahachie. Oh, help me, Lord. Waxahachie. I don't know. And his mother did this because she wanted him to sing religious songs exclusively. So apparently Jerry was learning that piano and he was playing a whole bunch of worldly, secular stuff. And his mama was like, no, sir, you're about to go to a Bible school and you're about to start just playing Christian songs. Period. Jerry was like, okay, mama, that's cool. So he's at school, he's playing all this Christian music, and baby, let me tell you how he fixed her tail. He waited until they had a church assembly, honey, with everybody there, and he was supposed to be playing a good Christian godly version of a song called My God Is Real. Baby, he got on that piano and started playing a boogie woogie version. You know, like a little Richard version, whooping everywhere, just all everywhere, child. Baby, I bet his mama was so embarrassed, I bet her whole body turned red. But he fixed her tail. He said, if I want to play blues, I'm going to play blues. And the school fixed his tail. He was expelled that same night. So, goodbye. You're doing too much, Jerry. After that incident, Jerry packed his bags up and he went back home. He started playing in small clubs around Faraday and Natchez, Mississippi. He was becoming a part of that rock and roll crowd, you know, that was just getting started, meeting new people. He actually cut his first single in 1954. Now, around 1955, he traveled down to Nashville and tried to be a part of the Grand Ole Opry because, you know, that's where all the country music stars and things like that, they came down to the Grand Ole Opry to get their start. Well, the Grand Ole Opry told him, no, sir, because we already heard you and you was over there at the Louisiana country stage and radio over in Shreveport. So do not try to go over there with our rivals. Do what you doing. And when you don't like stuff over there, you trying to come over to the Grand Ole Opry? We don't do that. Bye, Jerry. But eventually, Jerry Lee Lewis hit it big. We obviously know that because we're talking about him right now, right here. But we are here to talk about the... Say it, y'all. Say it. Say it. What we here to talk about? Scandals, baby. We ain't talking about no achievements. We ain't talking about no accolades. We talking about the scandals. His scandals mostly involved his wives, the women that he was with. I mean, the guy was married 7 times. 7 times. Let's start with the first marriage. Jerry Lee Lewis was 14 years old when he married his wife, Dorothy Barton, whom was 17 years old. And she was the daughter of a preacher. And their union lasted for only 20 months. I mean, they got married in February 1952 and were divorced in October 1953. And I heard that they were both cheating on each other. But I mean, I guess that's to come with the fact that they're 14 and 17. And as a matter of fact, Jerry met his second wife because of a little kind of sketchy situation. Apparently, Jerry was playing at a little club and a girl came swagging up to him and told him that, I'm gonna have your baby. He obviously loved what he heard because they started getting it on. And apparently they got caught by her brothers in the bed. And so her brothers was like, no, you're not finna sit up here and act like our sister is a hoe. You ain't finna do it, so you about to marry our sister. And Jerry was like, man, I don't want to marry your sister. And they said, you better marry our doggone sister. Walk out on my sister, see what's gonna happen. And so Jerry was like, all right, you know, I don't want to get beat up or killed, so I'll marry your sister. So him and Jane Mitchum got married on September 1953. Now, what's crazy about that? Do y'all see what's crazy about that? I'll tell you what's crazy, because didn't you remember me saying that he divorced his first wife in October 1953? So how do you divorce your first wife in October, but you got married to your second wife in September? Those guns scared him, baby. He was too scared. He done married that girl, and he done sat up there and committed bigamy. So this made his second marriage invalid. And that's a shame because 2 children came out of this marriage. Jerry Lee Lewis Jr., born in 1954, and Ronnie Guy Lewis, who was born in 1956. After 4 years of being together and living as a married couple, in October of 1957, Jerry filed for divorce. Why all his divorces happen in October, though? Now let's get into Jerry's third and most scandalous marriage on the list. Baby, this marriage caused a lot of damage to his life. Let's go and get into it. Jerry was 23 and he married his 13-year-old baby cousin, Myra Gail Brown. And this ain't just like a cousin. You know them kissing cousins, like the third, fourth cousin. Y'all be doing that. Y'all nasty. Yeah, y'all sitting up there telling on yourself. Anyway, it's not one of those cousins. No, ma'am. This is his first cousin once removed. That's pretty close in blood. So not only is she your cousin, but she's 13. They got married and they married in secret. His family knew, but he did not tell any of his musical agents. He didn't tell anybody. Let me tell you how scandalous it was though, honey. He did not tell anybody, like I said, that he was marrying her. Then he married her and took her and left and went on a tour to the UK. He gets over there, he's playing his shows, but of course the media, they're all around. He's parading this little girl all around, got her all in the shows, holding hands, they smooching and stuff. So, you know, the media looking like, who's that? So I think it was the Daily Mail, one of those British media companies. They asked him, who is that? Let me tell you what Jerry said. Oh, this is my new wife, and she's wait a minute, hold on. They're not gonna like the age of 13. This is really him. This is what he thought of in his head. This is what he's telling himself. They ain't gonna like the age of 13. That's a little bit too young. Let me change it. Oh yes, this is my wife, and she's 15 years old. Jerry, if you was gonna say that, you might as well should have said 13. That didn't make it no better. And y'all, he really thought that that was going to make it better. Maybe that media company started doing some digging. They found out that girl was his cousin, and they found out that she was 13 years old. Everything just blew up because immediately all of his fans and the parents of his fans felt like he was a pervert. They felt like he was a creep. You are a grown man, 23 years old, and you done married a child. No, my child ain't gonna be listening to you because I'm scared to send her to the concerts because you sitting up there looking under her dress. They canceled the rest of his tour, the hotel that he was staying in. He walked in there, he said, "Hi, Mr. Lewis, you're kicked out now. You can no longer stay in this hotel." And the little small gigs that he had over in England, when he showed up to the show, the audience that was there was only there to boo him. Can you imagine what being this big time, huge star when you arrive and within a matter of maybe days or maybe even hours, you do an interview and everything in your life turns upside down because you have just admitted that you have a child bride? Like, what was he thinking? He hopped on that plane, coming back over to the USA. Baby, he got back over to the USA and found out he had been blacklisted. The radio wouldn't play his songs no more. He didn't have no kind of concerts. Didn't nobody want him on TV. Everything just dried up, just like that. The only thing that didn't happen is that he did not lose his record deal. He stayed on and he tried to record more music, but everything he put out was unsuccessful, honey. The people just were not having it. Now, him and Myra stayed married for a while. And the crazy thing about all this is that Jerry Lee Lewis committed bigamy once again. His divorce from his second wife was not finalized before he married Myra. But apparently he loved Myra so much that he was like, "Don't worry about it, baby. I'm going to marry you again." So the first time he married her was December the 12th, 1957. That's to assure her that she is his rightful wife. He married her again on June the 4th, 1958. They ended up having 2 children in that marriage. There was Steve Allen Lewis, born in 1959, and Phoebe Allen Lewis, born in 1963. And they were so lovey-dovey and loved up and couldn't get enough of each other. Baby, it didn't take long for that to wear off. Jerry started thinking about it. Wait a minute, I lost my career fooling with you. People hate me. I'm not making no money fooling with you. So you know what Jerry did? Jerry started busting that woman all upside the head, child. Black in the eye, hitting her all in the face, doing it any kind of way. And he also was probably putting his hands on Myra because their son, Steve Allen Lewis, died in 1962 at the age of 3. He drowned in a swimming pool. He could have been a lot like Sam Cooke, who actually blamed his wife, Barbara, when his son drowned. Maybe it was just a lot on him. Maybe he blamed her a lot when he probably should have been blaming himself. Okay, so now Jerry and Myra are divorced, and then he married his 4th wife, and her name was Miss Jaren Elizabeth Gunn Pate. They were married in October 1971. Finally getting married in October and not divorced until June 8th, 1982. And they actually had a child together, Lori Lee Lewis, and she was born in 1972. Now, Jerry and Elizabeth Gunn, they were happy for a few years, and then probably about 10 years in, things started to get bad. I think that Jerry actually became abusive again to her. Another thing that affected this marriage is that in 1973, he lost another son, Jerry Lee Lewis Jr., who was only 19 years old. And he died when the Jeep that he was driving overturned. This is where the crazy, scandalous part comes in, honey. So Jerry and Elizabeth, they have a fight. They're about to divorce. Several weeks before they were about to finalize their divorce, Elizabeth goes over to a friend's home. I don't know exactly what the circumstances were, but she drowns in the swimming pool at the friend's house. How did this happen? How did this happen? Like, really, I'm asking y'all, how did this happen? Nobody knows how that happened. Was she about to take him for everything that he had? Like, I'm not trying to say Jerry killed that woman. I promise you I ain't. But Jerry did some crazy stuff. Come on, let's get to the rest of it. This, of course, involves another woman. This is his 5th marriage. And her name was Shawn Stevens. And their marriage lasted 77 days. And guess why they separated? I want you to take a guess. Because she died, just like his other wife. And whispers around town said that she died due to Jerry Lee Lewis's abuse. Now, that has not been confirmed, but it sure was a lot of folks saying it, honey. They said that the police walked in there and Jerry had blood on his bathrobe. They said it was blood on Miss Shawn's hair, on her hands, all on the floor, on the lampshade. She had broken fingernails, and also it looked like dirt or blood up under her fingernails. Said she had bruises on her arms, on her hips. I mean, what that sound like to y'all? Like, what does it sound like to y'all? I'm not trying to say it, but it did not make it into the police report. Now, this is what they say. This is all rumor. I don't know if it's fact. The show is a lot of folks saying it today. They said that he beat that doggone woman to death. Yeah, that's the 5th marriage. So now we're at Jerry's 6th marriage. Scandals kind of quieted down a little bit. Kind of. Because this marriage actually lasted for 21 years. And this was his marriage to Miss Carrie McCarver. They were married from April 1984 to June 2005. They had one child, Jerry Lee Lewis III, who was born in 1987. That's a good year because I was born in 1987. So his 6th marriage was okay. Not much scandal into that. Let's move into his 7th and last marriage. Thank you. What? Wait a minute. We think it's his last because the man's still alive. His 7th and last marriage so far to Judith Lewis. They got married on March 9, 2012. Now, this 7th marriage is kind of juicy and it's kind of scandalous because Judith, I believe she got some kind of magic or something on him because the day after he married her, he cut ties with his daughter, Phoebe Lewis Lofton, whom was his manager, and he revoked her power of attorney. He also sued that same daughter and her husband, whose name is Zeke Lofton, saying that they owed him all kind of money. What money, sir? You ain't done no shows. I mean, yeah, you're probably getting royalties and stuff like that, but do you really think your daughter been stealing from you? But then again, if she's got your blood, maybe so. Now, this has all been a lot, right? Like, whoa, like what kind of guy is this? This guy may be a murderer. He's crazy. He's got all this stuff going on. Rewind. We're going to go back to the year of 1976. Let me tell you what this crazy man did. He had never liked Elvis, ever. Because him and Elvis came out around the same time. And unlike Elvis, who shot to the freaking moon, Jerry Lee Lewis screwed his career by marrying a little bitty girl. So he's always like resented Elvis because of that. Because for a minute there, he was more popular than Elvis. On November the 22nd, 1976, Jerry Lee Lewis left a club called Vapors in Memphis, Tennessee, and he climbed into his Lincoln Continental and he drove over to Elvis's house, which is called Graceland, of course, smashed into the gate, took his liquor bottle, bust out his own car window, got out the car and started waving a loaded gun around, looking for Elvis, telling Elvis to come outside. You run around talking about somebody ain't nothing but a hound dog. What are you, Elvis? Baby, Elvis them called the police like they should have. And all of this happened at 3 in the morning. When the cops came and they had him in handcuffs, Elvis came outside. So the cops is like, okay, what do you want us to do with him? And Elvis said, rightfully so, lock him up. How come Jerry's sitting up there doing interviews and stuff later on in life, writing books and stuff, talking about, it hurt my feelings when Elvis said that, like he know me, we're better than that. Sir, I don't care how much I know you. You come to my doggone house with a gun, waving your gun around, you done crashed through my gate. You think I'm gonna tell the police? No, you know what? Let them go. No, you're going to jail, sir. It's not that time I hurt your feelings. What about Elvis' feelings? Elvis' feelings was hurt. You ain't cared nothing about that? Okay then. He has so much, like, his life is just so full of scandal. Imagine what else he had going on. If I find some more, I might got to do a part 2. Who knows? This is Ashley with Ashley Says So. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. I will be back with another Old Hollywood Scandals video soon. Good night.